Shabbat Shalom, friends. So I'd like to start our morning time together, our discussion, with a folk tale, which you might have heard me. I told it one other time, but it's been in my mind with everything going on and feeling that that our country is really in need of justice, mercy, compassion, peace. We are in such a terrible time of chaos and trauma. And I wanted to share this folk tale. So here's how it goes. Soon after creation, the animals, new to the world, needed to figure out how to survive and thrive. And there was chaos. The smallest of all the creatures were constantly chased and preyed upon by the larger animals. They knew they could not survive this way much longer. And so the smaller animals knew that they would have strength in numbers, and they called for a meeting to join together and come up with some strategy to help this chaos and to help this destruction. So the starfish first said, I have an idea. There are 3 enormous creatures connected to the angels, and I'm sure that they could help us. So the mouse and the sparrow volunteered to accompany starfish and meet with those 3 enormous creatures. And up close, they could see that these creatures are actually 3 different beings. One was a sky creature, an ancient sky creature that is passed down in our history called Zis. Zis has golden wings that we're told reach across the entire earth from the sky. Another is a land creature, and this creature is called Behemoth, and this creature causes the entire earth to tremble beneath his giant legs. So we've got the whole sky covered by this, the whole earth covered by Behemoth. And the third, you might already know the name, as we read about this creature in Genesis, is a water creature, covers the entire water, called Leviathan, whose enormous tail can cause tidal waves in the sea. It's just enormous. Upon listening to the small animals' pleas, the creatures, the 3 giant angel-like creatures, look and see that the world has become chaos, unbalanced, violent, filled with greed, filled with injustice, and that the large animals have gotten so out of hand that they're eating up all of the small animals. And so the creatures consult God and decide that it is time for the 3 great words. These great words that represent balance in the world. So Behemoth roars the word peace. Not just a word, but an act. As Behemoth roars this word, it becomes in everybody's consciousness, and everybody acts towards that way. And upon hearing this, the larger animals, they tremble as they realize what they've done. For 3 months, as the word just reverberates. What does that mean? Peace. And then this utters justice, justice, which stops the large predatory birds from hunting. And Leviathan hums mercy, mercy to the predators of the sea. And finally, the angels sing love. We need to start with love. We need to go back to love. And these words, peace, justice, mercy, and love, change everything. And all of the creatures on the earth begin to only take what they need to eat and to survive, as they are constantly aware of one another, of justice, of mercy, of peace, and of love. And they give each other time to rest and replenish. And this allows the smallest creatures to survive and thrive. And more than that, it allows for all of them to live in balance and in harmony with each other. This has been a really unbelievable time in our lives, in our history. And I'm going to ask you right now to just check in with yourself. What is your emotional state? How are you feeling in this moment? And if you could offer yourself a blessing, if you could reach out to God and ask for one blessing for yourself, for your own emotional state, for your own well-being. We're going to talk about the rest of the world soon, but for yourself, what would that be? What would that one blessing be? And I'm going to just take a moment, just think about that. What would that be? And now I'm going to ask you to offer that blessing to someone else. What you need is very likely exactly what someone else needs too. So I'm going to ask you if you can write that in the chat box or in the comments on Facebook, and just start it with, I bless you with, and whatever that thing is, or may you be blessed with, and whatever it is that you've thought of, or just say it out loud. You can put it in the comments, or you can say it out loud. And I'm just seeing if anybody is going to comment in there. I'm looking to see if I can read any of this out loud. Take a second. And so we offer these blessings to each other, and you might say, who am I to offer a blessing? Do I have that power to make that change in this world, to actually offer blessing in a serious way? Not just a wish, but a blessing. Isn't blessing only the work of God? And this week's Torah portion speaks to that and tells us, in fact, there are circumstances in which we can give blessing. And there's a beautiful commentary written in our Reform Torah commentary by Gunter Plaut. And what he says is, a human word delivered with the correct intention, in the correct way, like with a real heartfelt intention, will call forth a divine response if we're asking for goodness, mercy, justice, peace. So this week's Torah portion, we are doing that. We started it last week. It's Nassau. We talked last week about sections of that, and this week we continue Nassau. We do it a second time, and that's because as Reform Jews in the liberal community, we celebrate shorter Shavuot than is traditional for many people, not in Israel, but for many people in America and in North America and around the world, diaspora. And so we do this portion for 2 weeks in order to catch up and be in the same rhythm as the rest of the world. So everybody around the world is reading Nassau today, and we are too. And we have the priestly blessing in Nassau. It is so beautiful. So actually, Cantor Dan, I don't know if you want to sing it for us, the priestly blessing, before we go into our words about it.
I would love to see if I got the piano working yet.
All right, let's see.
Do you hear it?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh no. Okay, well, luckily I'm ambidextrous. Okay.
So luckily, I mean, you're remarkable. Most people cannot do.
All right. So this is a blessing that was given to me by my cantor and mentor who pushed me into the cantorate. This is Yivarechecha. This is the Priestly Benediction. And this melody he taught to me. He wrote it and he gave it to me. And I'm giving it to you. modern melody with ancient words. Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and may God protect you.
Yaher Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha.
May God's face shine upon you and may God be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom, shalom.
May you feel God's presence with you always and may God give you peace. Amen. May it be God's will. Thank you, Cantor Dan. That was really beautiful.
Amen. Thank you.
So these three blessings, they're threefold blessings, and there's lots that I can say about them and tell you. There's some really interesting things about them. For example, the first sentence contains 3 words in Hebrew, the second 5 words, the third 7 words, and these prime numbers have special significance throughout the Torah, and they always represent a key word that's in them. Each one of these has precisely 15 letters. Each one of these blessings, which is sort of interesting. So there's a whole gematria study in Judaism, which is looking at numbers and looking at kind of holiness in the numbers. And there's definitely, like, this would be one place that I would spend a lot of time studying if I was studying gematria, because it's so kind of perfect in the way that it's set up. One last thing is that in these 3 blessings, the name of God, Adonai, which we refer to as the tetragrammaton, is found in the second word of each sentence. So there's something very structured and kind of perfect about the way that this is set up, that makes it feel like it's a very holy, innermost ritual. But what is really remarkable about it, something that I find really important about it, is that it's not given by God to us. It's given by God for people to give to each other. It is meant for people to give to each other. And what are these blessings? They're really everything we would want. They're the blessing for sustenance. So the first one, may God bless you and may God protect you. In the Torah, when we read may God bless you, it's really connected with sustenance and having enough material needs. And may God protect you within that. There's a lot of study about this, that some of it is like, may God protect you from harm in the world, but some of it is, may God protect you, your inner life, because in the Torah we read that there's a worry that when people have too much, we read about God saying to the people, when you go into the land and you have milk and honey and you have everything you could want, don't forget that don't become haughty and arrogant. And so this first blessing, may God bless you and may God protect you, is like, may God keep you open to wonder and to appreciation and gratitude, and may God bless you with everything that you could want and need, but may you not become kind of dulled by having too much. The second blessing, may God's face shine upon you and may God be gracious to you. May God see you. May the face of God see you, and not just see you, but smile on you. Grace, whether we deserve it or not. May God be, we don't think of that as such a Jewish word, but it really is. Chaim, it's this idea that whether we deserve it or not, that God is going to be gracious to us. that we see God's presence in the world when we receive things that we just never expected or thought we deserved, maybe. And the last one, may you feel God with you. Can you connect with that divine spark that we all have, feel it, and have peace. Amen. And this is not the blessing that that God gives us. This is ultimately God gives it to us, but this is the blessing we offer to each other. And why all of these things? Because when we have them within ourselves, we can share them with the world. It starts with us, and we can share them. It becomes our obligation as Jews to share this with the world, not keep any of it for ourselves, and become ourselves speakers of this ancient prayer, praying that our fellow human beings, all our fellow human beings, find these blessings of sustenance, everything they need, of grace. Just every person deserves to have God's face shine upon them, every human being, and every person deserves peace. King Yehi Ratzon, may that go into the world. May those blessings cover the world, the sky, the earth, the waters, just become the air we breathe. And may we come into a much better time, not just hoping, by acting to make those blessings true. Amen.